So, friends, today we're going to start with the new reporting about an extraordinarily troubling development. And I say it's an extraordinarily troubling development because either a judge committed federal felony crimes or this is an unjustified arrest of a judge and a further indication of the rampant lawlessness of the Trump administration. This thing is either one or the other. So we're going to turn right to the new reporting. This from the Washington Post. Headline: Wisconsin judge arrested by FBI, charged with obstructing immigrant arrest. Federal prosecutors have charged a Milwaukee judge with obstructing an immigration arrest operation, the first known instance of the Justice Department pursuing a criminal case against a local official for allegedly interfering with immigration enforcement since President Donald Trump returned to office. FBI Director Kash Patel announced the arrest of Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan in a post on the social media platform X, which he deleted moments after posting. Patel accused Dugan of intentionally misdirecting federal agents who arrived at the courthouse to detain an immigrant who was set to appear before her in an unrelated proceeding. And this now deleted post from Patel, quote, "Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since," Patel wrote, but the judge's obstruction created increased danger to the public. The FBI declined to comment on why Patel had deleted his post announcing Dugan's arrest. At a brief appearance in federal court in Milwaukee on Friday, prosecutors said Dugan has been charged with counts of obstruction and concealing a person from arrest, the most serious of which are punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Quote, "Ms. Dugan wholeheartedly regrets and protests her arrest," her attorney told Magistrate Judge Stephen Dries. Quote, "It was not made in the interest of public safety, and we ask that the court allow her release." Judge Dries released Dugan from custody to await future court proceedings. According to reporting by the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, ICE agents arrived in Dugan's courtroom last Friday during a pretrial hearing for Eduardo Flores Ruiz, a 30-year-old Mexican national who is facing misdemeanor battery charges in Wisconsin. Judge Dugan asked the agents to leave and speak to the circuit court's chief judge, the Journal-Sentinel reported. By the time they returned, Flores Ruiz had left. Quote, "We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse," Eduardo Flores Ruiz, allowing the subject, an illegal alien, to evade arrest, Patel wrote in his post. Judges in some jurisdictions across the country have criticized ICE's efforts to locate and detain migrants at courthouses. They say those efforts have made migrants unwilling to show up as victims or witnesses in unrelated hearings because they're afraid they might face arrest. Okay, friends, let's tackle 3 main takeaways. 1. It is horrifically poor judgment for FBI Director Kash Patel to announce on social media the arrest of a judge only to have to take his own post down. Something seem a little fishy there, friends? 2. What Kash Patel posted and took down was, quote, "We believe Judge Dugan intentionally misdirected federal agents away from the subject to be arrested in her courthouse." We believe? Well, let me tell you, sport, you better have something more than your belief that the judge committed a crime. You damn well better have probable cause, strong admissible evidence satisfying the burden of probable cause to believe the judge committed a crime, and you sure better have had an arrest warrant before you locked up a judge, and not just your belief such that you made a probable cause arrest without an arrest warrant. Though, I mean, that would seem even too reckless for a guy like Kash Patel, until you remember that a judge found that Kash Patel was, quote, not a credible witness when he testified on behalf of Donald Trump in that insurrection trial out in Colorado. So maybe he arrested the judge without an arrest warrant. Kash Patel also posted and deleted. Thankfully, our agents chased down the perp on foot, and he's been in custody since. Okay, so first of all, Kash, what are you, in a Jimmy Cagney movie? Chase down the perp on foot. But really, more importantly, you don't disclose facts. You don't relate evidence of what happened in connection with a particular arrest. Why? Because you're poisoning the potential jury pool in the event this is actually a legitimate arrest that results in a trial. You don't just start posting on social media what happened during the course of the arrest. But, that's law enforcement 101. So I wouldn't really expect you to know anything about that. Number 3, the judge's lawyer also made a statement in this case at this initial court hearing. Here's what the lawyer said. Quote, Miss Dugan wholeheartedly regrets and protests her arrest. It was not made in the interest of public safety, and we ask that the court allow her release. So, what did the lawyer for the judge not say? The lawyer didn't say, my client, Judge Dugan, committed no crime. The lawyer didn't say, my client is innocent of these charges and of any wrongdoing. No, the lawyer said that the judge regrets and protests her arrest. Maybe that's a tell, maybe not. What we don't know is whether the judge committed a crime, whether this was a legitimate arrest pursuant to a lawfully issued arrest warrant, and whether this was the right thing to do. We don't know if this is more of the Trump administration's lawlessness, unconstitutionality, abuse of office, abuse of power, overreach, trampling on states' rights, etc., because we know that judges from coast to coast, including Republican-appointed judges, have been finding one after another that Donald Trump and his administration is engaged in likely unconstitutional conduct and unlawful conduct. I mean, judges appointed by Ronald Reagan, of all Republican presidents, have said that some of Donald Trump's executive orders are blatantly unconstitutional. That's a quote. Another Reagan-appointed judge said if Donald Trump can, unlawfully deport Abrego Garcia, well, then he's going to unlawfully deport American citizens and his political opponents. These are Republican-appointed judges. So we know that Donald Trump and his administration has been engaging in lawless and unconstitutional conduct day after day. So is this more of that same pattern? Or was this a legitimate arrest because a judge violated the law? And let me tell you, friends, if judges violate the law, they should be held accountable, because the rule of law has to be applied without fear or favor. I don't care if you're a judge or you're a career drug dealer. It doesn't matter. For example, probable cause, the standard to arrest somebody, is probable cause. You don't need more probable cause because the person you're seeking to arrest is a judge, and less probable cause because, it's just a drug dealer. No, the law applies equally. If it is to have any meaning at all, the law has to apply equally, including to judges. And you know why? because justice matters. But, friends, we will keep an eye on this story to see what evidence develops, because just because Kash Patel tells me this is a righteous arrest supported by probable cause and admissible evidence, I won't believe that for a minute until I see that evidence with my own eyes.